But it still bothers me that they will go ahead and do something like release the movie, even though one of the main characters, one of the main actors, died during the production of the movie. It bothers me. So, I don't know. I feel like I'm alone in this simply because everyone else I know is completely psyched to see stuff like the Dark Knight or the new Superman or whatever. But I've never been a big fan. And one of the things that has bothered me more than anything about these movies is the overly gratuitous use of CGI. Now, I know that some of you are probably saying, for the three of you who are listening, you're probably saying, well, they're using the CGI to make it look more like a comic book. I don't fucking care. I know that comic books are supposed to look kind of silly and kind of funny, and I know you're supposed to suspend your disbelief when you're reading them, but when you've got everything that looks like plastic, it's hard to suspend your disbelief. When I watched Spider-Man 3 a few months ago on DVD, not in the theaters, thank God. It would have been a waste of money. And literally every scene that had Spider-Man, not Peter Parker, but I mean, some kind of an actual Spider-Man scene, it was just the most ridiculously fake-looking thing I've ever seen. It was just awful. Like his chase through the city with the Green Goblin or whatever his name was, Green Goblin's son, whatever. That was just kind of ugly, and the fight with Sandman and Venom at the end, it just looked ridiculous. Although I do have to admit that the introduction of the Sandman was extremely well done. That I'll give him props for, because I actually thought it was real for a little while before I realized what was happening. And well, also they didn't really use Venom nearly enough in the movie, which I'm sure everyone has complained about too endlessly. But I mean, still, when you get a guy who looks way too much like Tobey Maguire to play a guy who's supposed to be a hell of a lot bigger than Topher Grace, and have him in the movie for all of 4 minutes, it's kind of a letdown, especially when you're expecting Venom to be the main guy throughout the entire movie. And he's in there for 4 minutes, and he's defeated by a bunch of steel rods being hit with another steel rod. What were they thinking? And yet they're making a Spider-Man 4. I actually took the time a couple of weeks ago to look through a list of movies that were being based on comic books or graphic novels that are going to be released in the next 3 or 4, I think the next 3 years. And I counted 30. So think about that for a minute. You're getting 10 movies a year based on comic books or graphic novels. That's not quite once a month. It's a little less than once a month. So I just don't understand why this is being done. I think part of it has to do with the fact that the Hollywood writers are running out of ideas. They've been running out of ideas for a while. But when they're taking these properties and they're basically destroying them right in front of our faces, it's not something that I like. I don't know if anyone else agrees with me, but I certainly find it to be a travesty that some of these properties are being destroyed in such a way. I'm actually reading a book by Peter McWilliams called "Ain't Nobody's Business If You Do." It talks about a hot button phrase of consensual crimes and what should be considered or what should be considered a crime and what shouldn't. And his argument is that consensual activities should not be considered a crime unless they harm the person or property of another. And I agree completely with this statement. I have for a while. My philosophy basically was, do whatever the fuck you want, just don't bother me with it, and I will be fine with it. You can go and snort crack, you can go and do whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. Just don't bother me with it. If you come to my house drunk and throw up on my carpet, I'm not letting you back in my apartment. Simple as that. You've ruined some of my property, even though it's not technically my property, but you've ruined my property, and well, first of all, I wouldn't really want to associate with anyone who comes to my apartment completely blitzed. But if you do some stupid shit like that, I'm not gonna let you back in, and I'm not gonna be friends with you anymore. Anyway, this was kind of a roundabout way of saying that this whole raping of comic books and books in general, graphic novels, everything like that, I believe that this is a crime. I believe that this is the defamation and the destruction of intellectual property, and I think Hollywood should be arrested for this. There, I said it. Yeah, it might sound drastic, but I think it's true. I swear to God, when you're getting down to making movies, when you're making movies based on guys like Nick Fury and Submariner, something is terribly wrong, and we need to fix that. There are too many stale scripts, too many stale writers writing movies nowadays, and we need to get some fresh blood in there. We need to get some people who have original ideas, such as myself, for example. Excuse me. But anyway, I am thoroughly bothered by this trend, and I know it's not going to stop until just about every intellectual property on the face of the planet has been defaced and destroyed and razed to the ground and basically murdered in front of us. So, with that being said, I am declaring a boycott on all movies based on comic books and graphic novels until these travesties stop. I will not see one more movie based on a comic book or graphic novel until they stop making them, and even then I will not watch them anymore. I will refuse to see the new Punisher movie, I refuse to see the new Hulk movie, I refuse to see the Ant-Man movie, I refuse to see the Captain America movie, the Iron Man movie, the Avengers movie, you name it, it's the movie's being made for it, I will not be seeing it. It doesn't matter if I would have watched it for free. I don't care if people will try to pay me to see it. I will not watch them. I refuse. I have some morals. This is one of them. And you are hearing it first. So congratulations, listeners of Random X Radio 2.0. You are the first to know that I will no longer be watching any movies based on graphic novels or comic books. Oh, wow. It's been a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. So, it's been 28 minutes, and you've been listening to my voice for that long. So, if you've actually been listening this long, congratulations. You win a prize, so I'll send you a cookie or something. I don't know. I don't really have anything else to talk about right now, so I hope you've enjoyed today's episode of Random X Radio version 2.0, and I will talk to you next time about more things that are bugging me or more things that are in making me a very happy man and everything else in between. So with that said, I'm signing off, and I'll see y'all next time.